So are we doing the live stream or?
We are live right now, my friend. I just had to sigh because,
Wow.
yeah, this is
Oh
a
my
big,
word.
a big
Did
sigh.
anybody tune in
No,
yet? What are we
hold on,
expecting?
hold
Three
on,
people or are
hold
we gonna get
on,
four this time? So are
hold
we doing the
on.
live stream or?
We're live streaming right now. I'm just sighing at the beginning because I'm sad, Max. I'm sad. The people tuning in, they don't know why I'm sad, but I don't know if this is quite the resignation letter or the resignation video, but I've seen some troubling things today, Max. And before we get into everything else we wanted to talk about, which is, as the title is, MimbleWimble, a Dr. Seuss character. Sure sounds like it to me, Max, but we're going to take a deep dive there. But I don't even know if we'll get there because I might hang it up before we even get into the subject because of greenhouse gases. I did not realize precisely how bad Bitcoin was for the world. And, it really attacks my social justice warrior heart. And I just kind of want to talk about it. And I reached out to you earlier today and I said, Max, I learned from the program, being a friend of Bill, that sometimes, uh, in the world of alcohol, if you're thinking about that next first drink, you pick up the phone and you call a friend, somebody who's kind of in the business, in the staying sober business, and so I was having this issue today about greenhouse gases and about how Bitcoin destroying the world, and I just picked up the phone to phone a friend, to phone somebody in crypto, and your name popped up, and I reached out to you and I said, I think I'm going to close my channel because my channel is somehow supporting the destruction of the world because of the greenhouse gases caused by Bitcoin and probably other coins too. I don't know because, as you know, I don't know shit. But I want to share a screen. You sent me something here. And I'd just like you to walk me through it, Max. By the way, this is Max Freeman. He's the man over at Epic Cash. I've interviewed him before and have had several conversations with him since. And because, as you know, I'm interviewing lots of project leaders from privacy coins because I love me some privacy. And there's lots of charts going around, comparisons and such. And all I want to do is get it right. And I'm starting to arrive at a conclusion. So I called Max to just confirm a couple of things, and he did. And I specifically wanted to talk to him about MimbleWimble, which is why I named it MimbleWimble, a Dr. Seuss character. So we're going to dive into that. But let me share my screen because I want to show you exactly how bad Bitcoin is for the annual CO2 emissions. You won't believe it. You'll probably, if you haven't eaten yet, don't eat. You might throw up in the back of your mouth a little bit. Let me see right here. Okay. Hey, Max, introduce yourself to those who may not know you, and then let's dive into this.
All right. Well, I'm Max, and I know we're new together, but in the future, please don't assume my gender. I try to keep it fluid. So yeah, now you'll definitely get this channel banned.
Yeah,
but
thanks. This will be my 7th. Appreciate it, Al.
What's concerning for me, I mean, I've been involved in crypto for a long time, and when I saw this, I started selling all my possessions. I'm ready to move out to a tent in the forest, really just to reduce my CO2 footprint, because this is shocking. I mean, Bitcoin, I think Elon Musk and Michael Saylor are really right to be trying to rally the world, not just the United States, around a greener environmental vision for Bitcoin. Because in terms of our priorities for the planet, I mean, the military-industrial complex is really just the most important thing that we need to preserve. And as you can see, Bitcoin is already up to a full 1/60th of the environmental footprint of the military industrial complex. And if Bitcoin goes up by 10 times, it will still be 9% of the footprint of the finance and insurance sector, as well as the military industrial complex. And so we just can't afford to have this type of uncontrolled peasant money really just addressing the pillars. I mean, we would have absolute bedlam on the streets. I mean, can you imagine if Bank of America didn't have the right to charge you 3% on your transfers, or if there weren't guys from Schlumberger willing to protect oil supplies of benighted nations out in the Persian Gulf? I mean, we would really be in dire straits. So I think, we just really need to appeal to level heads. Like Obama said, we need some common sense regulation for crypto. And I think we should just shut everything down until we can appropriately assess the impact and make sure it's equitable.
Now, I'm pretty sure that you've sidelined Epic Cash, at least for this interview, just to lower the emissions, because you know that I am going to be capable of emitting lots of hot air myself during this time. But Epic Cash, just you're doing your part, right? You've sidelined it?
Well, I mean, if only I had that kind of power. I've been involved for over 3 years now. There's about 130 of us in the Epicenter DAO that contribute our time as volunteers. But I mean, at some point you need to take a moral stance. And I saw a squirrel earlier today that looked like he was having a little trouble breathing. And so it really just put things in perspective for me.
Okay. Well, look, I am grateful that you sent this to me. Now, can you just walk through? I had no idea. I mean, when I go to the bank, the finance and insurance sector, gosh, it's almost up there with the military industrial complex with their, how can that be? I mean, is printing money that bad for the environment?
Apparently so. That's some pretty shocking statistics. I mean, but they are there from Monday to Friday most weeks, and they're there many hours of most days. And so you have something like a Bitcoin that's available 24/7 and doesn't require thousands of bank branches around the world. So, I think this is just a turning point for us as a species, and we need to evaluate what's important to us. And there's a lot of very important jobs in the finance and insurance sector, and their ability to take fees from us. Probably, if you look at the actions, not the words, but the actions of the people in power, all of our legislative activity and regulations are aimed at protecting that income stream for those people. So we really should probably just take a cue from that and lay down our swords. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, this was a big day for me. I'm done. I'm over it.
Chips are in. Chips are in. Sold my portfolio. Was able to get it all into fiat, and now that would be bad for the environment. I intended to burn it. No, everyone, we're having a little bit of fun here at Elon's expense, because this narrative that we're hearing about how bad Bitcoin mining is for the environment is absolutely just stupid. I mean, you'd have to be dumb as a box of rocks to actually believe it. And so if you're watching this channel, I guarantee you that you are not dumb as a box of rocks, because you possess the ability to critically think. And I think you appreciate what I'm trying to do with these different privacy coins on trying to interview them all. Man, I'm making good progress. I have 2 additional calls. I have, again, as a returning guest, Max Freeman from Epic Cash, and there's a reason why I have him on tonight. I asked him if he could make some time because I had an open-ended question for him. But I'm also going to be interviewing the folks from PRCY, that coin, and then also Light Cash is going to be on Friday. This morning, I had a great interview with the Bitcoin Meister. That was fun. I mean, he dropped a lot of truth on Bitcoin history, and he's a passionate guy. So if it's a good cigar walk. If you want to just listen in, and he's got so much energy, it's great. I love him. But so as I am starting to compare, not only for myself, but for you good members of the Uncle Vigilante family, I'm just trying to, R, of course, is my absolute favorite because that's what I have the greatest amount of holdings in, and I love everything about it. That was my first introduction into it. Well, not true. Monero was, but I was so new into it, I really didn't do a deep dive, and I went in big with R, as I know many of you did. So we are really excited about that project, and as it turns out, there are other privacy coins out there and privacy projects, Epic Cash being one of them. And what I started to just pure observation, is that it seems to me that that some projects out there are approaching this as an either or, and I'm like, hell no. I look at it as a both and. I mean, these privacy coins become a tool for self-defense, financial self-defense. And so I'm all for learning all about them. And through my conversations with Max, both my previous interview, and then we've had several private conversations, I have learned a ton on why, and I'll let Max speak to his decisions, but when it comes to MimbleWimble, I have no freaking idea what MimbleWimble is. It to me sounds like a Dr. Seuss character, but apparently it is nowhere nearly as private or fungible as Monero. So that comes from a very, very high level trusted source. And so I'm not afraid to call a spade a spade. And I reached out and said, look, Max, I want to be able to support you. And actually I've already invested in Epic Cash. Even made a video on how you can do that. And by the way, we don't tolerate sponsors here at the Uncle Vigilante channel. So you don't see me shill anything that I haven't, or you don't see me promote anything that I haven't invested in myself. So MimbleWimble, Max, I'd like to give that over to you to just a couple of things I'd like to accomplish is if you could almost take me back to square one and say, okay, one day you woke up and decided to start this project. And to do that, I know that you determined that it was going to be 21 million coins. Sounds a lot like Bitcoin. And then I'm sure there were a lot of other decisions that were made. But it seems like the comparisons that are going on out there, they have to do with block time, protocol, language, max supply, no pre-mine, always private, scalability, max block size, no or low development fee, ASIC resistant, store of value, exchange, medium. So you have to know that everybody out there in the space thinks that they're competing for $1. And I'm here, one fiat piece of crap. I'm here to say no. I mean, I want us to grow the pie and grow the communities. And one community can get to know another community, because it seems to me each of you do things differently for the right reasons. And so I'd like to kind of get that to the bottom of it, why you made some decisions you did in the development of your project. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Sure. So first, let me start by saying that we have tremendous respect for a huge number of projects in crypto. We're fortunate because of open source to stand on the shoulders of giants who have come before. And so if we look out on the privacy or the landscape of assets that provide privacy today, I kind of object to the term privacy coin, because it's really, the other ones are surveillance coins. It's not that these are privacy coins. We just accept this perversion
I
of.
like that. That's excellent. Say that again. That's really important, because what it does is it casts judgment on those of you who are creating projects that become tools for our own financial self-defense, and they're the ones that coin us privacy coins, when in actuality, I think I got it, is we need to play jujitsu, use their power against them, and you are surveillance coins. I mean,
Well, you remember when we met for that coffee in Tampa, and we split the coffee bill, and as a part of that, you whipped out your online banking and showed me all your bank and credit card statements, which you had actually posted to Twitter, by the way. I don't know why, but in 2009 you started that. You thought it'd be important for every financial transaction you ever do to be made available to the world permanently. And so, you know, we just take it as a given that we show everyone every detail of our financial dealings. Ha ha ha. Of course, I'm being facetious, but when you put it that way, it's absurd. We expect and need a basic desire or a basic level of confidentiality for companies to be able to preserve the harmony of their staff when they know how much the people in the one department are making versus the other. There's a reason most companies don't disclose salaries. If my competitors can data mine my supply chain and see who I'm paying and when and where I'm placing orders and what my terms of trade are, that data is invaluable to go and compete. If Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley showed each other their trading positions, Wall Street would simply not function. And I could go on with that, but when you put it that way, it really shines a light on the fact that privacy should be the standard. And there are many cases where full transparency or even shades of intermediate transparency, like in the case of allowing your CPA or your audit firm or your local regulator to look at your books. But you surely don't want to have everybody see everything all the time. And so there's all these problems that that come with surveillance chains. And I think in the future, the standard will be confidentiality at the base layer. And then you can build all of the inspection and surveillance and behavior modification and social engineering and WEF agenda 21 type of stuff. You can do all that if you want to. Just do it at the software layer rather than the protocol layer. We tend to think that because it was that way in the beginning with this fully transparent ledger with BTC, that's the way it had to be forever. I'm old enough to remember cassette tapes and the remnants of 8-track tapes when I was a kid. And so can you imagine if you were trying to teach people about the CD-ROM and you're like, yeah, let's store data digitally on this plastic spinning disk. It's faster, better, and cheaper. And people said, no, I like this magnetic tape that runs on these two little spinning things. We're just going to keep it like this forever because it was first. And you know, anyway, you see where I'm going. And so I think that any project that offers individuals a chance to defend themselves financially, a sort of cryptographic Second Amendment, that it doesn't matter why you want to take my money. You may be a kidnapper. You may be someone who thinks that you have a right to the fruits of my labor more than I do. Like whatever our disagreement about who owns my money, whether it's you or me or society or the party or whatever, you're going to have a harder time stealing that from me with these types of resources than you would using other forms of money. And so at the margin, people that use these tools are going to lose less parasitic give up along the way and end up quite a bit wealthier. And so to that end, as we begin the epicenter DAO phase of our journey with the ECR token coming into existence here soon.
You are talking to someone who doesn't know shit, and this channel is dedicated to others who don't know shit. So I don't know what a DAO is, except probably has a big belly and meditates. That would Tao. And I do not have any idea what was the other thing you said.
Okay.
The DAO and the man. Help me.
I'm sure somebody will hop in the comments and tell us. We'll learn to dance as we get better. People that are watching this or listening, they know why I historically haven't done a lot of these and probably should stop doing it and let others talk.
No,
we'll get better as we go.
Why I wanted to have you on, because you talk in ways that I can understand. I just wanted to be able to make sure that we can continue down the path by just simply knowing what is a DAO.
A DAO. So a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. If you own shares in a corporation, whether it's Apple or Tesla or your brother's startup in his dorm room, if you own a token in a project that's structured as a DAO, the DAO is kind of like a tokenized equivalent of a corporation. So that's what a DAO is, DAO.
Okay, and DAO, and your DAO is named what? Is Epic Cash the token, or is Epic Cash the DAO?
So it's called Epicenter DAO, and the token of that is ECR.
Okay, that was it. ECR, you said something ECR, and so the token is is it ECR? Is it on the? Okay, geez, I'm so stupid.
Let me just zoom out a bit and make it clearer. So in September 2019, we launched a proof of work protocol, a pure currency called Epic. Most people use it as cash, so we call it Epic Cash, even though the blockchain can do many other things, a lot of what Ethereum can do. But out of the box, it doesn't have any smart contract capabilities. And so the next phase of the project is decentralizing the governance and operations and the way that things happen even further by creating this new token called ECR that is the property rights of essentially shareholders in if they're you can think of the Epicenter DAO as like a company, and if you own a token, that's the equivalent of having a share. And as we go and build out the ecosystem and extend the utility and usefulness of the Epic blockchain through other services and tools such as the EUSD stablecoin, it gives us a lot of extra flexibility versus having to do everything at that single asset level. And so we've allocated a chunk of our ECR tokens to give away to other communities through an air grab process, starting with privacy coin communities such as Pirate Chain. Let me think. So Pirate Chain, Firo, Grin, Komodo, maybe we'll do Litecoin because they have MimbleWimble now, Monero, Zcash, maybe Xano, Dero, maybe there's a few other ones. If somebody from a community project that we're missing, let us know. But essentially the way it'll work is
what about Zcash? What about
sure,
Litecash?
Sure.
Okay, so that's awesome. So that's like an outreach to other private communities to where explain what they'll receive again with an air grab.
Yeah.
The difference between an air grab and an air drop. I'm familiar with air drop.
Okay, so everybody that has an Ethereum wallet from 2017, you go to your My Ether wallet and click the tokens drop down and you'll see, what the hell? I have 37 random tokens that are worth nothing I've never heard of. And if I want to clean up my list and throw them away, it'll cost me a ton in gas to do it. That's an airdrop, is when random spam shows up in your account. We don't want that. An air grab is a little bit different. And so for Pirate Chain, as an example, we've set aside a budget of 10,000 ECR tokens that, whether it's 10 people from R or 10,000 people, however many it is, if you have the keys to your R and you sign.
Ooh, I just lost you. And it was just getting good. We can't hear you. Oh.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we lost
sorry,
you right when it was getting good. You were saying that if you have R, continue.
Yeah. So let's say you have some R. You sign a transaction proving that you own 10 coins, 100 coins, 1,000 coins, whatever. However many people claim, we're going to split it equally, those 10,000 ECR tokens. So let's say, I think the supply of R is 180 million right now, or the circulating supply. So let's say nobody really cares. Maybe we got 4% of holders, 1 million coin holders to come and execute that air grab process. So you invest 30 seconds, maybe 90 seconds of your time, whatever it is. You click a button and specify your Ethereum address to receive the tokens. And then when we do the distribution, those 10,000 ECR tokens divided by your pro rata share of the 1 million people who registered. Let's say you had 1% of that 1 million who claimed, then you would get 1% of that 10,000 or 100 ECR. And there's no cost commitment, no marketing data collection. We try our best to minimize the metadata footprint for the extremely privacy conscious. Just the intention is to enable people who care about privacy enough to own R, and like what we're doing enough to invest 1 or 2 minutes of their day to bother to get some free tokens. Even if you go sell them right away, well, we've captured a little bit of mind share and generated some engagement with people. And the reason we're starting with the community-driven privacy projects is that the Venn diagram overlap is more like a circle. There's almost everything that we agree on and very little that we don't. And the specific things that we don't are usually fairly minor technical matters that when you get into them, like the MimbleWimble Dr. Seuss topic that we have tabled here, you discover that those are kind of like distinctions without differences in many cases, or they're transitory things that in 12 months it's not the same story, or they don't even matter anymore. And so I really
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead.
that is why I'm passionate about this, because in a certain chat I brought up Epic Cash, basically, that I was interviewing, and it's there's like almost like an auto bot that just basically says, just keep in mind, Epic Cash is nowhere near as private or fungible as Monero. And so that's cool. And you had a good answer for that when I talked to you about that. But what I want everybody watching this to just be mindful of, and I took Raphael's challenge seriously, to start thinking for myself, to not just take everybody else's, one sentence and have that be gospel. To me, that becomes centralization. When you have a higher authority whom no matter what that one-liner is, just shuts your mind off to everything else, to me, that's dangerous. So I don't want to go there. That's why I'm having as many people who want to come on here and talk about their projects kumbaya, please. I'm a friendly interviewer. I think you can tell, Max. It's like I'm looking for the good, and I'm looking for not only for myself, but those who I care about, which I do care about the folks who are subscribers and joining this crazy family. But I just want everybody to be careful that when these privacy coins are comparing themselves to each other, I would beware of the ones holding the sniper rifles. If they're trying to build themselves up by knocking others down, to me, that's just not cool. So that's why I would rather understand the right questions to ask and give you the opportunity to be able to defend, if you will. If MimbleWimble is nowhere near as private or fungible as Monero, well, then tell me about it. Why did you choose it? Why on earth would you choose it if that seems to be a bad pivot?
I think the only answer is just that we're idiots and can't really spell our names properly or tie our shoes. I think it's just properly described as simple incompetence. No, I'm just kidding. That kind of thing bothers me a little bit. Perhaps it shouldn't, because I continue to be an acquirer, and I'm happy to have baseless FUD drive the price down for my own selfish interest. But in the interest of setting the record straight and establishing what Fred Ehrsam calls a credible basis of neutrality, which is one of the most important things for a layer 1 protocol, let's address those. So I think the specific word that you used was nowhere near as private. Now, privacy in crypto is more of a probabilistic shades of gray type thing rather than a binary black or white issue, because you really have to ask private from whom, under what circumstances, and to what end, and under what level of assault. Because if you have nation state level resources dedicated to finding you, they're going to. But of course, there's not many people that merit that level of investment. And the rest of us have other concerns, like simply not having our health insurance company raise our rates if we've ordered too much Kentucky Fried Chicken this month, or if you and I share the bill for lunch. Now you can see how much money I have and where I got it from and where I spend it, and all those other types of problems. Excuse me, just give me 1 second here.
Sure. By the way, you've referred that before, and I just don't get that reference to sharing lunch and everyone being able to see my.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, yeah.
I've never, showed my bank statement to anyone, splitting lunch. I give
yeah. So, well, this actually happened to somebody I know. This guy sent ETH to somebody to split lunch, and it was $20 or something like that. And then this guy was trading and doing ICOs and stuff. And anyway, long story short, he got an email or a Facebook message, something like that, like 6 months later, going, "Hey, I'm really happy for you that you've done so well this year for yourself. How about you give me a loan, because I'm in a hard spot?" What are you talking about? "Oh, well, I see you have $976,000 of this token, and you bought it for 10 grand. So I figured if you made $1 million, you can chip off 100 grand for your old buddy." So if somebody knows your Ethereum address, they can see all the flows in and out, and then trace those. It fans out from there. And so you can use stuff like Tornado Cash and some basic OPSEC and things like that. But fundamentally, these are surveillance dreams for people that want to spy on you. And so you can actually find guides online how to stalk your ex using crypto, or people with an axe to grind. I mean, it reminds me of the Soviet Union when you'd have like false denunciations, or North Korea type totalitarian nightmare scenarios. Because if you don't have the sophisticated data analysis tools to do that data mining and see what's going on, then you're kind of flying blind. And other people have that panopticon of data. So there's a whole host of issues, and they all go away if you just say, just like the internet itself, the job of the internet is to move packets, not to say, well, this JPEG, that's porn, so we're going to treat it this way. That JPEG, that's a kitten, so it can go over here in this other lane. No, the internet just moves the data. Epic is a network that just moves the data, and everything else around it, the political layer, if you will, is left to the humans in meat space.
And is it left to the humans because you can't see it and make that decision?
So everything is blind to
blind to you.
So if you and I split lunch, you can see that I paid you 10 Epic and I have the same. No external observer can see any information about that. If we do another transaction, then like it's not like you and I have a link and now we can see all of each other's stuff. It's just that one transaction, the people who did it can see and no one else can.
Okay. And then it goes poof, disappears. So
yeah. So back to the topic of Epic being nowhere near as private as, say, Monero. Well, that's just plainly false on a number of levels. The first one is what's called the anonymity set. So the way that a decoy-based approach, such as Monero or even Epic, if you want to look at the CoinJoin that way, works, is to say, well, somebody peed in the pool, but there's a number of people in here, so we don't know who did it. Now, in the case of Monero, your transactions are mixed with 10 other people to form a ring signature of 11 people. So there's this idea of plausible deniability. Well, it could have been these 10 other guys, so you can't pin it on me. Now, the corresponding figure right now today in Epic is 1,000. And I love Monero. I've donated considerable amount of my own money to the CCS, the community crowdfunding system in Monero. I've been to MoneroCon in Denver in 2019 and DEF CON Village. Our community has tons and tons of people who would identify themselves first and foremost as Monero people. So with that said, their upgrade path is to go from 11 to 128. Which is awesome, but it's still only a tenth of what Epic has today at 1,000. Now, we've chosen not to emphasize maximization of the privacy features, but if there's a market demand for that, it's relatively trivial to take that well beyond 2,000, 4,000, 10,000. I mean, pick a number. There's only so much demand for ultra private use case, let's say, because most people have other concerns.
Yeah, to be cliche, that's building the church for the choir. It's like, privacy is really, really important, should be really, really important. But just speaking about me, just a jag, just a guy, just another guy, I just don't want you to see my shit. I just want to keep that kind of private. But I am not doing anything illicit. I'm not worried about that level of privacy, nor do I think people who do like that ultra next level of privacy that their motives are because they're doing something illicit. I get that. And I want to be really, really clear on that. But there comes a point in time in my mind to where if you go to that next level of privacy, how much extra privacy is that? And what did you gain?
Well, and what did you lose? Because
that's a good point. You told me that.
Because if I'm carrying around a tobacco pipe, and I run into an officer of the law, and he says, you've been smoking crack in there. I'm going to take you to the station and ruin your life. Well, no, it's a tobacco pipe. Like I may well have been smoking crack in there, but at least it's like most people would say that's for the tobacco. Now, if I get caught with a crack pipe, it's a whole different story. And so if you're using Epic, you are using a tool that overwhelmingly is used for bake sales, bridal showers, philanthropic stuff, Freeman University online, peer-to-peer learning. I mean, this is as wholesome as they come. Apple pie and mom and 4th of July and all that good stuff. And so, you have the baked in benefit of the doubt because over 99% of cryptocurrency usage today, as per the government's own statistics, is beyond question as to its licit nature. So the maximum number, as per Chainalysis or one of these other firms that study this stuff, the maximum number of transactions in crypto that could even possibly be legit, because something between Gemini and the CME, as an example, is not going to be in that category. So you've got this tiny, tiny number, less than 1%. And so if you're using something that most other users use for illicit purposes, even though you don't, you might be tarred with that same brush. And we're already seeing a premonition of that with how Coinbase, as an example, handles VPN. I saw the story of a guy the other day where he had signed on. I mean, this guy is like teetotal, he's not doing any funky stuff, but he connected through a VPN to his Coinbase account and ended up getting it shut down. And when he asked why, they said, well, because you were using a VPN that was used by other darknet users. And he was like, but I'm a God-fearing man. I go to church. I'm not a darknet user. I've never smoked a cigarette. Well, I'm sorry, terms of service. You're a risky account. Your account is shut down. Okay, give me my money back. No, we're keeping it. Oh, and I got news for you. Coinbase sells your data to the DEA and IRS. So now you have a real problem on your hand. And so if there's this guilt by association concept, and we're willing to accept that, oh, okay, sometimes algorithms get it wrong, but overall, we think it's good. You have innocent men on death row and all these unequal outcomes and inequitable outcomes, and really just a continuation of the same type of plantation sharecropper type of model that keeps us all enslaved in this debt-based fiat currency madness that we accept as normal, or have accepted as normal, hopefully not for long.
So tell me about Dr. Seuss, about MimbleWimble.
Okay. So the anonymity set of Epic today is 1,000. Monero is 11, maybe becoming 128. And I'm not a super technical guy, so if anybody knows those facts better and can update my understanding, I would definitely welcome the chance to upgrade my level of knowledge. But so the anonymity set is one factor of privacy. The other thing that was mentioned there was fungibility, which if you are dealing with Monero today, even though Monero people are better than most networks at downloading their or pulling the coins from the exchange down to their local wallet, there's still a lot of people that leave them on Binance, for example. And Binance, because many people believe that it is insolvent, and it may well be, it had real trouble meeting withdrawal requests for Monero, because exchanges don't just leave it sitting in their cold wallets. They do stuff like loaning it out to earn interest and make income on it. That's kind of baked into the business model. And so if you want to talk about fungibility, I own 10 grand worth of XMR, great. But if it's stuck on Binance and I can't withdraw, then I'm kind of hosed. We also see other centralized platforms that have supported the asset in the future or in the past, delisting it because, for example, their insurance company refuses to extend coverage if they offer trading in that. Zcash, as an example, was delisted from Coinbase, just the UK site, because of similar issues. And so Epic is really designed to be one single new private internet of money, whereas a lot of these older networks, because they came of age in an era where really centralized exchange infrastructure was your only option, or let's say the dominant option, you have these like collection of walled gardens that have these links together. You have AOL and CompuServe and Lycos and Dogpile all running separate internets instead of one internet that they all run on, if that makes sense.
It does. So what I just heard is that your tech is newer than these prior other chains. And my question would be, according to who, or have you had one word phrase that's going out that I'm hearing a lot is independent peer-reviewed audits, because it seems like a lot of coins, and I've heard this. I mean, people know I'm interviewing other privacy coins, and I'm hearing things like they just hijacked Xcode and haven't developed anything for a year. You know, so it's just kind of like you know, privacy is hot, so let's get into that game and see if we can create a moon coin. So my challenge to you is, how do we know what you're saying is, you know, you talk about it, it's very enlightening. The vision is enlightening, but how do we know that with, I mean, I don't even know the question I'm trying to ask.
Well, you asked about the audit, and so yeah, I don't know the precise number, but about 99 point something percent of all of the Epic code has been audited at one point or another. I mean, with open source, everybody reuses the stuff that's out there on GitHub, and so if something has been audited, then you don't need to re-audit it again. Everything novel that we create at the ECR level, we're pioneering. I don't know if others do it, but an audit or even two sometimes misses things. Even a rigorous peer review process misses things. Zcash, as an example, had a critical bug that could have enabled infinite minting go undiscovered despite peer review and multiple audits for over 2 years, if I recall correctly on that one, simply because there's only a few people in the world that are smart enough to understand the moon math behind it. And so we're deeply committed to safety and high assurance engineering principles. And so I think that that is a key point. So in terms of the chronology, Epic came out in 2019, Monero came out in 2014, BTC came out in 2009. So you've got kind of a 5-year punctuation there. But the biggest benefit that Epic provides, or that MimbleWimble provides, and the primary reason why we chose it, it's kind of unfortunate that people believe MimbleWimble is primarily a privacy technology, because while it does provide very strong privacy, the comparative benefit on scalability is way more. And so if you're going to have a money system that can grow to encompass the entire world and resist centralization, because it needs to be small enough in your pocket, and it also needs to be trustless so that you can run the local computation to verify the chain state and sign transactions without it freezing your phone for 60 seconds or more, which is another drawback of some of the earlier approaches to privacy. You really just get the privacy without the compromises and a lot of benefits besides. And so we think MimbleWimble will be the standard for all blockchains or all cryptocurrency
You, you,
blockchains
you you
anyway
had
in the
mentioned to
future.
me that there was a different version of MimbleWimble that you're using, or that they can't. Again, forgive me. Everyone forgives me because I don't know shit. But MimbleWimble, I thought you said 2 point something, or there a different version.
Yeah, we haven't released that yet. We
Oh,
had a value overflow incident like BTC did in 2010, involving a range proof buffer overflow exploit, which just goes to show that despite audit, because that particular piece had been audited, at least I'm 90+% sure, things do get missed. And so we've written the paper, we just haven't released it yet, on a specification that we're calling MimbleWimble++. And there we specify the additional features that we've done the protocol level R&D, the science behind knowing that we can make it work, and got some solid estimates as far as resource requirements, time and manpower, and any dependencies or uncertainties. We've done all the work and laid the foundation to know what we can grow the blockchain into, and what stuff needs to be left to the other layers, such as Ethereum or Solana or Cardano or any of these other ones. And so what we know how to do is turn Epic from a single asset system that can only transfer the Epic currency into a multi-asset system where you can have both fungible, i.e. ERC20 style tokens, and non-fungible tokens. But the crucial difference is that there's a big problem, and I know we're trying to get toward a newer audience, and this is kind of an advanced topic, but you have this problem of in DeFi of MEV, or miner extractable value, which is basically if you're submitting a trade and the market moves in between when you submit the trade and when the block gets confirmed, the miner will essentially front run your trade and rearrange things to take the profit. And you would have bought it at 197. But instead the market gaps up to 201, you get an error that says, sorry, you spent the gas, but you don't get the coins. And someone else bought them at 197.01 and sold them at 201 in the same block. So that's something called MEV. And miners and pools are actively filtering and censoring transactions, primarily for the benefit of big guys against the small guys. And in MimbleWimble, all transactions are completely blind. So there's no possibility of reordering or filtering or censoring or blacklisting or any of the other problems. And so as Ethereum continues to grapple with the problems that are there, that are kind of irreconcilable based on the design choices that were baked in there and the technical debt that accrued over the years, we're starting with a clean slate and a very solid and scalable foundation. So going from single asset to multi-asset, talking about what we know how to do with atomic swaps, particularly into networks like the MimbleWimble extension blocks of Litecoin, or ZK shielded for Zcash, and our other MimbleWimble chains such as Grin and MWC. So atomic swaps, flexible transaction types. So being able to have 1-step, 2-step, and 3-step transactions for things like security deposits, or like if you book an appointment and then, or you wanted to be able to do a chargeback in the case of a dispute. Interesting things with multi-sig and stuff. And so it's a short paper. It's only about 10 pages. There's some other sections to it, but essentially we've said, all right, looking into the future, these are the things that the architecture we have in place supports. And here's the links to the scientific papers as far as the work that it's built on, so people can get a comfort level that we know what we're talking about. And then the next step is just to go ahead and build that stuff and extend and enhance the utility, and hopefully as a result, the value of that scarce and precious currency unit, because there's only 21 million spaces on that Epic blockchain. And if you can do more with it, then there might be more usage of it, which means it might be more precious than if it just sat there. We think that the hodl mentality of the BTC camp is really the wrong way, or I don't say the wrong way. It's not appropriate for us, because money and currency are two different things, even if they're often conflated. And Epic is first and foremost a currency, even though it's also equally as hard a money as BTC, if not more so. And so really, money in motion is worth more than money that is stagnant or
All right.
currency. Yeah.
If I wore a mask, and I don't, never have, but that would have gone way over my mask. So what did you just tell me? I mean, Epic Cash is currency, but it's not currency. I'm confused.
Oh, okay. So there's money and there's currency. And
what's the difference in the educated dummy here? Because
okay, so we use the Federal Reserve note as currency. It is it is something that has no value except for the fact that we have decided to give it value. Money, such as gold, as an example, has implicit utility because you can use it as electronics. You can use it to fill a cavity in your tooth, jewelry, aesthetic value. Gold has a value, which is why it's historically been money. And so banknotes or currency are used as a money substitute, but they are not money. They're a stand-in for money. And so this distinction between currency and money is actually a quite important one.
This is great. So this is when we go back in history, and when everybody used to take their gold with them, which is their money, and then they'd get robbed in between. This is when the original Druid Babylonian Bastards, I think they were the Rothschilds or Rockefeller, I'm not sure, but that's when they figured out that in between, I think it was France and London, that you could deposit your gold in France and travel all the way to London, and then get over there, and they'd communicate that, yep, based upon this little note that I have, they can take out the gold over here in London, and they get a vig. Of course, the banksters get a vig. But so that little bank note that says this is worth this much gold or this much money, that's what we're talking about here. It's right. It's the money is the gold, and the currency is the little note between the Rothschilds saying, yeah, go ahead and give up the money, because it was, so the gold was backed, or the currency was backed by the gold. That's no longer the case.
Well, and actually, let's even just unpack the specific terminology that you used. A note is evidence of indebtedness. It is a promise to pay. A banknote is simply an IOU from a bank. And so when you have gold, you have something that took energy, it took effort, it took resources, labor. You can't conjure gold from nothing simply because you want to, but there's nothing preventing you from adding, just let's add another 4% to the banknotes today. Nobody's going to notice. I mean, okay, we're a little light, give it 2 points more, right? Just it's completely arbitrary. Mm-hmm. You can make any number of banknotes you want. And so when it's not When the creation process is not governed by the ironclad requirement to put in, to contribute scarce resources in the real world, whether that's men with pickaxes in the Klondike in the 1800s, or miners running computations to secure the Epic network in 2021, it's the same principle. There's no getting around it. The Federal Reserve can make as many currency units as it wants, and they're at zero cost, and therefore it's inclined to make a lot of them, as many as the market will bear.
Right.
Epic, the emission schedule of Epic was preordained at the outset, and it's immutable. It can never change. If somebody says there should be 42 million Epic instead of 21, sure, they can fork the code, but it's not Epic anymore. It's Bobcoin or whatever.
Okay. Okay. And what is it you were telling me that at some point in time it achieves the same exact burn rate or whatever of Bitcoin, or what, in 2028 or something like that?
Yeah, so a Bitcoin standard monetary system has 21 million coins as the maximum supply that is never actually reached, but it's asymptotically approached through a 4-year halving process. So every year, the emission rate of new coins that are created goes down by 50%. And so in May of 2028, both BTC and Epic and BSV and BCH, in other words, all the main 4 flavors of Bitcoin standard monetary networks, will have 20.4 million coins, a little bit more or less, depending on difficulty adjustment and so on. And each of those networks, the heartbeat will pump out 210 new coins per day. So 7.5 coins every hour through the mining process. Now, Epic today, because it started 10 years later, 2019 versus 2009, we had to massage the emissions a bit to make that happen. One thing that's fairly unique about Epic is that we were able to bootstrap the protocol with a no ICO, no pre-mine, no VCs, no corporation type of structure. And so the supply started at 0 in September 2019, and there were 16 coins per minute that were emitted. About 10 months later, that went to 8 per minute, which is the current rate now. In October, that goes down to 4. 2 years later, it goes down to 2. 2 years later, it goes down to 1. And then finally, in 7 years from now, an event that we call the singularity, the supply of Epic, or the supply of Epic and the emission rate of Epic matches BTC and stays in sync forever. And the last halving before the singularity is actually an 85%ing. So just to put things in perspective, right now, there's 840 BTC per day created. And right now there's 11,000 Epic created. So that's a lot. But the emission rate of Epic is going to go down by 98% over the next 7 years. Imagine the scarcity of plywood if the market suddenly stopped producing 49 out of every 50 sheets of plywood in 7 years. And you can imagine what might happen.
So Uncle Vigilante may not know shit, but I think what I just heard is I need to ask a question about mining. How is it like BTC where you need these ASICs computers that are and live near a waterfall to be able to afford to do it? How can a guy like me mine?
So do you have a laptop or a desktop?
I do.
All right. What is it, a Mac or a PC?
A Mac.
A Mac. From what year?
I bought it last year.
Last year. Okay. So on Telegram, go to Epic Miners is the group, and ask somebody there, how much could my Mac such and such earn and they'll tell you. So Epic uses 3 different consent or proof of work algorithms currently. There's other ones that will come, but there's just 3 today. And one of them is the one that Monero uses exclusively, called RandomX, that is essentially designed so that your type of hardware is the one that's best for it. Let's say you have a fancy graphics card that would be just a beast mining Ethereum. It's going to be worthless, useless for that. You're going to hardly get anything. So nobody bothers to do it. So the only devices that really mine RandomX are the ones that it's suited for, which is CPUs. And so if you have a Mac from last year, even a laptop, I'd say even if you're a total newbie and have never done it before and have no clue, you could probably be up and mining within 30 minutes or less. And most of that is time spent syncing the chain and like, just like navigating around and stuff. The actual process is much quicker.
Where do we find out how to mine then? Because
it's on Telegram.
I'm going to do that. So if I just go to Epic Miners on Telegram and pop in there and then just ask for some help, you have some.
Yeah. So there's 560 people in there from around the world. We speak at least a dozen languages. So if you need help, just pop in there and say, I'm looking to get started mining, and they'll help handhold you through. So invest a half an hour of your time, whatever, and you can set up a 24/7 passive income stream. If you have, so with that laptop, you don't have a dedicated GPU, so it's only going to mine and consume electricity 60.
Just lost you. Just lost you. Don't you dare make me tell a joke. There you go. I can hear you. All right.
Sorry. Somebody called and it interrupted my my Zoom.
Your phone.
Yeah. So 60% of blocks go to the CPU on RandomX. 38% go to GPU on an algorithm called ProgPow, and then 2% goes to ASICs. And so that load balancing system is remarkably effective at spreading the burden out. Sometimes one coin will be hot, or markets go up and down. And we've seen that with this flexible system, the demand of the market to produce computation to earn those coins is pretty responsive to the bid that's put out. So yeah, mining is actually.
I just want to call a timeout here for everybody watching, or who will watch. We all talk about, don't we wish we were back in the day when the Bitcoin days, back when, if we knew how to mine Bitcoin in 2008, or not 8, 9, 10, whatever.
10.
Okay, 2010. And you got into it back then, and you just started ugly. Well, what I'm hearing, I'm going to make 2 points. The first point is, what I just heard was very instructive on how you go about mining Epic. And you have a resource, Epic Miners on Telegram, that Max said you could go to. So what I start picking up out of this is, when I'm thinking about investable coins, is there's a built-in community here of people willing to be able to help. And that I find very, very attractive. I personally am going to figure out how to mine Epic Cash, just because that adds to my talent stack. And I may not know shit about a lot of things, but if I learn a little bit and I can just keep adding to my talent stack, even though I might not be the best at whatever, at the end of the day, if my stack's larger than other people, then I might be more valuable for a job or for a whatever, right? That's just always been my mindset. But two is, you be the jury in these, I've dubbed them shitcoin trials. Epic is not a shitcoin. And while that's kind of a shtick to be able to talk about shitcoin trials. There's nobody that I'm having on that's coming on that am suspect or shitcoin. So by the way, so that's just kind of, who knows, wasn't intended to be clickbait. And I don't know if I'll continue to use that or not. But what I want you to be the judge and jury yourself is, if you listen to the first interview and you listen to this interview, and then I've had the pleasure of having probably about 6 hours of conversation in between, is that Max answers every question without hesitation. And I trust that. So I am, this is why I wanted to have him back on, because he just answers questions at a level that even I'll understand it. And I really appreciate that, Max. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I'm serious, that the bar is with you. So other people who may be watching this that are going to come on, I just hope you have equally as good of answers, because when you speak, Max, it's like unconscious competence. It just comes out and it's like, okay, I get it. Obviously you have rich experience. Obviously you chose your tech for reasons that had that wasn't just because so anyway, I just wanted to say that, because it's as important to me to be authentic with those who take the time to watch, and I really appreciate how authentic you've been to me, so thank you.
Well, I appreciate the time you're putting in and helping spread this this story and this vision. One point that we probably should make sure is not lost is that right now the BTC chain, even though very few people actually use the chain, most people use it through intermediaries, is 300 gigabytes, and it only grows. The Epic chain right now is 1.5, and even at BTC levels of usage, it'll still be 30 unoptimized, maybe as low as 10 with a few further tweaks. And so in 10 years, the BTC chain will still be large, and the centralization demands will continue to be pressing there, but Epic will continue to be growing at a rate slower than the rate of hard drive storage innovation. And therefore, we're kind of through that bursting through gravity point into orbit, where it's essentially infinite. The exponentials meeting infinities in the case of Epic means that it really is a money system that can scale to handle the entire planet's needs. And so the privacy is definitely important, the fungibility, all that good stuff, but it's enough for everyone, and we think it's ready for prime time.
All right, one really simple question. How in the heck did I use Epic Cash?
So the best way to use it is as money in your daily life. If you
can I order dinner using Epic?
Yeah.
How? Where?
Yeah. So right now it requires a bit of creativity, but there's lots of local economies that are springing up around Epic. I am in Florida, and here in Miami, crypto is in the air. And so there's probably a dozen small businesses here in town that they see me wearing my Epic shirt, and they ask me, hey, can you give me half an Epic this time, please? Or something like that. It's Gresham's law is in full effect, and everybody wants to, in my little world that have heard me do calls like this and talk about it, it's kind of like an osmosis type process. So if you've got someone in your life, let's say you're going to dinner with somebody and you're splitting a pizza, have them put the $20 on their credit card and you give them $10 in Epic and set them up with the VTEX wallet or whatever. Anytime you're using Venmo, you're using PayPal, you're buying something locally or online, just see if it's possible to use it. And we're going to be adding some structured incentives for people to be able to go and evangelize and get some bonuses for doing that once the DAO is there, that can throw some fuel on the fire. But even without that, it's a very organic process. If you go to epicfundme.com, there's over 200 people and businesses and organizations, even though it's just a basic working proof of concept, that are using it as a tool of trade in commerce to support their content creation, or maybe offer goods and services. There's about a dozen startups that are active around the chain that have identified unique.
So it sounds to me like right now, Epic Cash, I'm not going to be able to really be able to use this as cash in my day-to-day life yet. I mean, I get it. Organically, maybe you get your dentist to be able to do it and whatnot, but why don't you create something that would be like an Epic Cash? Because in the spirit of full disclosure, everyone, after that first interview, I put my money where my mouth was, and I went and I invested. And I would love to be able to. Why don't you do some of these places have credit cards or whatever that could be tied to the Epic Cash? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. The beauty of an open protocol is that it's permissionless. And so anyone can do anything they want. The code is available on github.com/epiccash. There's a startup in New York called Moon that has some really interesting stuff to be able to link crypto balances to single-use debit cards for platforms such as Amazon. And so that's a great example of a biz dev deal that makes a lot of sense, that probably will happen. And the beautiful part about our structure is it's not like there's a team at headquarters that has a meeting and says, hey, let's go talk to them and strike up a partnership. No, it's more emergent, where people like that identify the unique capabilities of this chain to help their own businesses be better. And it's more of an emergent bottom-up type process rather than top-down and hierarchical. So it's really a let 1,000 flowers bloom type of situation. And the vision is to connect the Epic chain to first every other blockchain within cryptocurrency, and then more broadly to other circuits of value. If you think about gift cards, if you think about frequent flyer miles, if you think about prepaid debit, even securitized debt and commodities trading while oil tankers are on the water. Really, anywhere there's value that needs to be recorded in a shared ledger, and especially have transfers between parties be settled in a reliable and efficient manner. That's really the game plan. And so we want to support builders. And a big part of why the ECR token is so exciting is that we're going to develop a grant program where if you have a good idea for some product or service that can help iterate or help expand the ecosystem and bring new users in, or connect the Epic concept of money to other concepts of money, then the resources will be there to help support you, not just financially, but also experientially. I'm proud to be a mentor and a financial backer of quite a few of the startups that are active in the Epicenter ecosystem. And if anybody who's listening to this has a great idea and wants to talk, it's a lot nicer than Shark Tank, and the terms are better. So let's get to building.
Well, hey, let me ask you a question to see if you're open to, when I talk about collaboration and growing the pie and bringing the tribes together. I don't know if you happen to see the video that I recently did, to where I came up with an idea while driving to the airport of in Tampa, there's the Gasparilla Parade, which Tampa Bay, and you hear Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's a Buccaneer? It's about $1. Bad joke. A buccaneer is a pirate, and Tampa Bay was founded by pirates, apparently. And so once a year, there is a reenactment of Tampa being taken over by pirates, and it's called the Gasparilla Parade, and it is awesome. You have just these giant armadas, these ships that have all these flags that come in with, 100, 200 people on them that are all dressed like pirates. And then you have boats and vessels that surround them that come in and they just storm Tampa Bay, and cannons are going off, and it's just awesome, man. And so I was thinking, because obviously I'm a big fan. I'm going to be interviewing Captain Draith tomorrow evening at 7:00, by the way. So everybody watching now, come back. We're gonna learn some things tomorrow night about their development as well. But anyway, I have this vision. We have this vision now of putting together a conference in Tampa that would be around the Gasparilla timeframe, to where we'd have different companies that are in the privacy game, if you will, those who are going to be interviewed and whatnot. But we thought it'd be cool to everybody just get along and create an event to where part of it is access. We rent out a big ass pirate ship, and we all dress like immature fool pirates, and we get on this thing and we storm it together, and it would just be a blast. And I don't know how it will shape up, but I would like to. Is that something that you would support or participate in?
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of meeting many of the guys from at the recent Miami conference, specifically the Shitcoin 2021 part of that. And we discussed a number of things. We are adding support for R to EDEX. I'll tell you about the various things we identified later, but the short answer is yes. Any way that we can find a way to unite the tribes and bring us together, focus on what we share rather than what we don't necessarily agree on. Anything like that, we're wide open. And so specifically the ones that we really like are Monero, Pirate Chain, Firo, Grin, Secret Network, maybe a few others. But if it's an honest effort what is
Firo? I'm not even familiar with Firo.
So Firo is formerly Zcoin. Often they changed the name because people thought it was related to Zcash, and it's not. They are one of only two projects that offers, or two networks that offers something called Lelantis, which it gets into concepts that are difficult for mere mortals to understand, and it's not always black and white when it comes to privacy. But as I understand, if you want to have the absolute maximum privacy on a blockchain that is achievable, a lot of guys who are really specialized in this type of stuff get quite heated about the merits of, let's say, Lelantis versus ZK Snarks and Starks and roll-ups and other types of extreme leading edge privacy tech. And so Firo is a great project that operates with a community structure. A lot of their team is out of, I think it's Malaysia. They're quite distributed. And so they've been around about 4 years. And they're definitely worth a look. And they've got coverage on Binance, which makes it easy to buy. So that's Firo. Yeah.
Do you know anyone over there?
I do. Ruben Yap is the project leader, and I talked to him, and he said he'd love to come on.
Okay. Okay. So you talked
Yeah,
to
I
him.
got you covered. I got you.
I know you were going to reach out to him, but you did. And did
All
he?
done.
Oh man, you're the best. You're the best. You're the best. So everybody watching out there, I got your back, man. I'm trying to get all of these people on so that we understand what goes behind all of these. I mean, I want to become a somewhat subject matter expert of privacy. And again, that what everyone needs to understand is everybody watching, they're people just like me who we don't, it's not like, it's not, I don't think anyway. I don't think it's like the NFL to where it's like, oh, I'm just a Buccaneers fan and that's my team. No, man, I love football. I'll watch any kind of football on TV, and you know, from a privacy coin standpoint, it's like I want to invest in them all except the ones that, you know, after some conversations, if it doesn't feel right, I won't. I'm not necessarily going to tell other people not to, but I will tell people after I have. So I'm not in the coin recommendation business, but I will let you know if I've supported any projects personally, which I have for you. So I would love for you to, can you tell people how would they get Epic Cash? And for those of you who may not be taking notes, just know that I also put a video down below. After our last interview, I was so impressed. I had them come up with something to make it easier because it wasn't really easy for me to buy it at the time. And I'm like, got to dumb it down, guys. You got to make it easier. And you guys came through. So, but why don't you tell us how you buy it?
So Epic is not on any centralized exchanges. It's only on DEX platforms. So the most of the action is on a DEX called VTEX, VITEX, and you access that through the V wallet on mobile. It's a non-KYC DEX, which is great. It's low friction and very quick to sign up. There's no hassle and no customer service to make you jump through hoops if you want to do a withdrawal. So VTEX is great. Another alternative is Stellar, the stellarterm.com or StellarX. You can both buy Epic with the XLM currency. You can buy Epic with credit or debit card through a company called MoonPay via Stellar. So you would buy XLM through MoonPay and then use that to swap it for Epic. There's a mobile app called Lobster, LOBSTR, that is quite slick for that. And then it's also on PancakeSwap on the Binance Smart Chain because one of our community members set up a bridge there. And so those are the primary ways to buy it. There's also a P2P OTC trading group on Telegram called Epic Cash Trading, just in Telegram at Epic Cash Trading. And there's a number of trustworthy OTC dealers in there and people that'll bridge the trust gap with escrow.
Wait a minute, time out. Because I went to that Epic Cash Trading. And again, this is my first rodeo. So I was not even born yet back when people had to send money to Mount Gox. Maybe I was born, but not in the crypto world. So in the Epic Cash Trading, I actually saw someone saying that they could, if I wanted to sell, I don't know. It was weird. It was just weird. It was like I could send them cash, or did I read it wrong?
No, you didn't. So essentially, imagine if you have a group of friends that help each other out when they're in a pinch. I'll give you an example. There was somebody that wanted to access a special sale that a particular online retailer offered, and it was only for like 1 hour, and they would only take PayPal. And this guy didn't use PayPal, and so he found somebody in the group to send the PayPal so that he would buy the graphics card in exchange for Epic. So the Epic was sent to the buyer. The PayPal was sent directly to the merchant. And the seller of the Epic got the graphic card, which he then proceeded to install and mine a lot more Epic with. So you have, in that case, I guess it would be what, a quadruple overlapping coincidence
That's
of once,
awesome.
a win-win-win-win situation. And
I
so
wonder if that's, I wonder if that's did that happen recently?
It's been evolving organically over the past 21 months or so.
Okay. Because I had a friend after the first after the first interview with you. He was so impressed. He went in and I love him, Enrique. I love you. He went in and he moved the market personally. He's like, I like everything about this. And he went in and it's like your chart. I think it even hit like the number one on the high. That was the day I bought mine too. And my
that
other
was a big day.
And my best man, he went in too. And it moved the market. It's like, hey, it's kind of cool being a whale. I mean, I guess, but he then the next day in a different Telegram chat was talking about how he has his electricians out. He's setting up his mining equipment. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
You go, Enrique, you go. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Through something called Nkey, the Epicenter New Knowledge Initiative, we did our first Mine Crypto at Home hands-on seminar. One of our community members from nearby here drove in and brought his equipment, and I was there too. And we had a dozen people. I mean, really, despite no marketing, it was all just kind of word of mouth of
do that
crypto.
again. I'll come down.
Yeah, you should. We have another one. In fact, I'm doing it's informal just for a couple of people, some friends of mine tomorrow, and then based on the format we developed, there's I kid you not, currently in process of spinning up the similar. This was Epicenter Labs Miami edition. We have Gaborone, Botswana, Freetown, Sierra Leone, Kumasi, Ghana, Puerto Rico, Mexico City, Madurai, India, and we haven't even really got started yet. It's just people that saw the website. If you want to check out the pictures, it's at labs.epic.tech/Miami. And we wanted just to kind of work the kinks out and see, could we get people that know nothing about mining to come in and here, take a USB stick, plug it in your laptop, and wait, oh, you mean I have passive income while I sleep and I don't have to do anything? Well, that sounds good. And then what do you want to do? Tell a friend and go, get more people in. And so I
want everybody watching this to become a miner. I mean, if you are a computer, it's like, I love the question. Why not us? Right? Why not us? I'm going to be a miner. You damn right I am. I'm excited about this. And I do have a question because I did invest in Epic Cash. You're talking about, and I'm an R holder too. So when you do this air grab or whatever, I'm going to grab whatever I can. But do people who invest in Epic Cash now, are they going to get matching ECR tokens or whatever? Like I know that with Hex, there's something with the Pulse chain or whatever, where if you're holding Hex, you're going to get or matching any ECR token, I think, on the Pulse chain. Help me understand that. It's because everybody has different terminology. But
okay, so if you owned one Epic before the snapshot that we took at the end of February 28th, if you have one Epic, you get one ECR when it comes out here, which is getting pretty close. So within the wallet, you'll be able to click a button, say, okay, I have 724 Epic. Here's my Ethereum address. If I want a receipt, here's my Telegram handle, click, boom, done. And then some time later, I see those tokens show up in my wallet. And so if I have 1,000 Epic before the snapshot, then I can claim 1,000 ECR. If you came in after that, you don't get those. But our idea over time at both the ECR level and Epic level is that there's ongoing dividend-like, let's say, additional income opportunities, spin-outs, spin-offs. We've all seen situations from the equities market where AT&T becomes the 7 baby bells, or eBay spits off PayPal. It's a similar kind of thing, a tree branching maybe. And so just as Epic gave birth to ECR, the way that the EUSD stablecoin will work, EUSD is an algorithmic stablecoin token that runs on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain and Solana and Cardano and all the other ones like that. Similar to the Federal Reserve note before 1971, one EUSD token is redeemable through a smart contract for $1 worth of Epic, whatever the price is at the time. So right now, if Epic is, call it 40 cents, whatever, let's just say 50 cents to make the math easy. I think it's a little bit less than that. But if you have one EUSD token and you want to cash it in for Epic, that would be 2 Epic per EUSD. If the price collapses down to 10 cents, then that would be 10 Epic per EUSD. If it goes to $10, then it's 0.1. So from the perspective of somebody that wants to denominate their affairs in fiat, the unit of account purpose of money, EUSD, because it maintains parity through a soft peg mechanism with the dollar and is designed to stay at 1 rather than going up and down a lot as Epic naturally does. It provides kind of like a ramp or a transitional mechanism between the fiat economy and crypto. And so if you own Epic, as the Federal Reserve continues to create currency units by the trillions, you'll essentially be able to claim EUSD based on your Epic holdings. So if you're an Epic holder, you'll be able to get some additional income sprinkled there as a thank you for being a holder, because the seniorage benefits of the EUSD system are split between ECR holders and Epic holders.
So dumbing it down to a level that I'll understand it, get some Epic, guys. It's just, that's again, that's and now I'm proud to be able to say, once I operationalize the mining, when anybody asks me, hey, what do you do? I mean, I decentralize digital coins. I just borrowed that from somebody in the chat. Said, yeah, go Uncle V, help the decentralization of the network and mine that coin. Why wouldn't people mine the coin? I mean, and it seems to me that that's part of the allure of you, is people can do it on their own computers at home. Are they ever going to be able to mine from their phones?
Yeah, it's inching ever closer. The problem with mining on a smartphone is not at the phone level. It's, for example, the pools and the algorithm switching and making sure that somebody with a server farm doesn't just spin up 10 million mobile emulators and create all kinds of problems that you didn't anticipate. And so, excuse me?
Probably the most important part of this, and I hope you have time.
Of course.
But when we were talking and you had given a company that'll go unnamed, but you were talking about how they basically think about XRP, about how they just went through life for years and years and years. And it wasn't until like 7 or 8 years later that the SEC came back with a gotcha and have turned their world upside down. You made the decision to basically destroy yourself, your coin, your operation, beat yourself so badly the way you were building this through an independent outside counsel who was proven to be very brutal, and you actually sought him out. And you don't have to go to names or anything like that, but I just want to share with people the links that you went to go to make sure that you're here a decade from now. And would you mind, or did I cross a line by even opening that can of worms?
No, not a problem at all. So one of our key design factors that we felt was very important to hit, Epic was born in terms of the concept or I should say epicenter was born back in the heady days of the ICO boom in 2017, 2018, that type of era. And there was a lot of uncertainty in the air as far as how things like the Howey test would be interpreted, or how the DAO on Ethereum in 2016 would be handled. You had all these projects that came out and said, well, we're going to raise $100 million from investors in something that walks like a security, talks like a security, and quacks like a security. But we're going to hope that through this fancy paperwork, we get a pass on the fact that we're calling it a utility token when really it's a security. And so most people got away with it. But the SEC very clearly said, we are not cool with this, and you can't keep doing that. And they made an example out of certain projects, namely, who was it? Telegram raised 1.6 billion and they had to give it back. Kin raised 100 million and they essentially needed to use the bulk of that for the defense against the SEC, and it basically torpedoed their project. XRP was big enough to be able to muster the defense and keep soldiering on. But a smaller project like Library, the LBRY token, that's a significant monkey wrench in the works of trying to build something. And so there was or is a project called Ravencoin that was inspirational as far as pushing a new frontier of, let's say, being on safe territory as far as the Howey test and securities law, because they did it as a fair launch, no ICO, no pre-mine type of model. And that was very impressive. And so there was a grilling session between Tone Vase and the main guy behind this project. And I think there were like 4 or 5 lawyers. And one of them was really, really raking him over the coals and taking an aggressive stance, representative of how the SEC would approach their deal. And I said, wow, I sure would like to be ripped apart by that guy pre-launch and get his input to maybe help us design how to be extra safe as far as the SEC, rather than being on a YouTube video after launch when it's all set in stone and you can't change it. And then we discover that we didn't do it quite right. And so this attorney helped us in the early days with the design, as far as figuring out how to make sure that under no circumstances would there be any question about whether Epic was a security. And by extension, those same principles also cover the the other protocols, so that people that are using these tools never need to worry that they're going to wake up one morning and have a really bad day because a press release from the Justice Department went out, and now your XRP is delisted from 60% of exchanges overnight, or whatever. And so people come and they make their contributions and then move on to other stuff in their lives. We are not at liberty to share it publicly, but we have an opinion letter saying essentially Epic is not a security, and it's got 16 pages as to why that's the case. And so that's an arrow in our quiver and a feather in our cap. But we haven't had much use for lawyers since before launch because there's no company, and therefore there's not a lot of stuff that companies need lawyers for. And so we've been fairly fortunate in that respect.
Well, I just love the proactivity of that, and it just sends all the right signals as far as I'm concerned. Because as an investor, and I know investor is the wrong term. We got to stop using that word. We are not as a what's the right word? A holder?
Maybe holder. Yeah, holder, user. I mean, Epic is a tool for transferring value between people in the lowest friction way that really is possible in today's world. And so I think it stands apart, and it's unique in that one of the knocks from people like Professor Rubini that are skeptical of crypto is that it has no inherent utility. Well, if you can transfer money to anyone, anywhere, anytime, any amount, any reason, and nobody can stop you, that sounds pretty useful, regardless of the price. And so I think one of the criticisms that has been leveled at us that is actually fair is that we've really not emphasized the promotional and marketing type stuff that would maybe help the value be higher, because we believe that if we build something useful that people use, then the market will follow in terms of appreciating what the proper price of that should be. And so it's a little bit of a slower burn than some of the other, Dogecoin type of things. But ultimately, like, what is the value of these blockchains? It's what you can do with it. And so I would challenge somebody that not to throw shade at any particular project, but if you own a Shiba Inu token today and you say this thing is worth $4 billion, okay, well, where does that $4 billion come from? And in the case of Epic, it's 4 million rather than $4 billion. And it's supported by the ability of thousands of people to transact instantly with no cost and no friction, and all the other good benefits.
So that's your market cap is 4 million?
Thereabouts.
See, I mean, people want to, are always seeking in good investable coin projects. I've done my best across probably about 5 hours now of being able to give you the floor, and you've done, in my view, a fantastic job. It really helps me stay confident in the project. And I did first time ever in all of my career in YouTube, I just hid a comment by this Gilani, who basically said, Epic Cash is a pump and dump. Prove me wrong. And the reason why I deleted you and your pseudo name, sir, or if you are a Zer, I don't know, but you haven't been paying attention. So to make a idiotic comment like that after the time that we've invested to be able to educate you on this project just tells me that you are deserving of the banhammer. So good riddance. Just will not tolerate that. So and look, I know there are other companies who I'm going to be interviewing that may be watching this. And please know, I hope this was a good model for you. Let's just have a great conversation. I am so interested about your project and the decisions behind your project and your vision, and, you know, how this is going to help us all, you know, how your project is going to provide me with yet another tool for financial self-defense. And I also want to know if you want to come storm Tampa Bay in a pirate boat. So far we've got R and we have you. So I think we're good. But hey man, this was fantastic. Is there anything else that and this was just off the cuff. You sent me this greenhouse gas emissions thing and it cracked me up, and I'm like, I don't have anything going on tonight. You want to come have a conversation? And you said yes. So thank you for that. That's just awesome.
I think the only thing I would leave people with is that if this sounds exciting, I've been living the dream, having a blast, meeting new friends and making good stuff happen with people in what's now the Epicenter community for about 3 years now. And I would say just hit up Epic Cash Telegram, no underscores or spaces or anything like that. Epic.tech is the website. Come poke around, but get involved, whether it's through mining or content creation, or even just supporting this video with hitting the like button or a comment or sharing it around with friends. We're on a mission to enable people to live their best lives and focus on what's important, because if you have a bit of resources to spare, then you have the ultimate wealth, which is discretion over your time and a freedom from anxiety. So it's not even day one, it's minute one of the first hour of day one in our journey. And for average people starting with nothing to be able to invest little more than their time and perhaps maybe the equipment they already have, if they have a laptop today and a tablet or smartphone tomorrow, to really have something to be proud of. We're in kind of debt servitude from the moment we're born through the currency structure, and this just halts that in its tracks. So while the price of everything in dollars gets more expensive, and your wages don't keep up, in Epic, everything gets cheaper. And if you're smart enough to figure out how to get yourself an income stream in Epic, then your money's working for you rather than against you. So come to the Epic Cash Telegram and say hi and figure out how to get involved. I'm there. There's 130 other people in the Epicenter DAO formally, about 1,100 or so in the main Telegram. So it's a very cozy, intimate spot with a lot of great people, and we'd love to get everybody started on their journey with us.
That's great. That's great. And I would invite everyone too, if you aren't already there, to come to on Telegram, Uncle Vigilante Lounge. And it's a lounge because we go in there and we just talk crypto. I also have Uncle Odds Lounge, plural. So Uncle Odds Lounge. That's the place you go if you want to talk about what's going on in this world, the DBBs, CV19, and all that. But Uncle Vigilante's Lounge, we keep to crypto. So please, if you do come visit, let's not have that. It seems like all of the Telegram chats, end up just circulating the same content that's out there that just talks about everything bad about this world. I want to talk about good stuff in the Uncle Vigilante Lounge, like how we can generate money and keep it. So thank you very much, Max. As always, a great guest, and I'm sure we'll be having you on again. And I look forward to our other discussions because you're just a blast to talk to. I always learn a lot.
My sincere pleasure.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
a lot.
Everyone in the chat, thank you. You guys are awesome, and we will see you around. Come back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and wear your pirate hat, pirate patches, pirate shirts, and learn the only word in the pirate language that you need to know.